Hey guys, Central here, and I managed to get another second place with Vanquish again. Can't win with the deck, but pretty happy getting second with this deck in this format. I was obviously on Voiceless earlier, and I just got tired of playing hand trap boards. I think trying to just open one more hand trap than the starters than they have isn't the best way to play the game. The decks will function like that. You can play those decks and have success. I just want to try something different, and so I decided to play Vanquish because I think it's the best shifter deck, which may be a weird comment, but the two main reasons are that one, you can play more copies of Shifter than other decks, which you'll see in a second, and the second is that I think you have a really good match into the other Shifter decks. I think when you're playing Cash into Flu or the mirror matches, it gets kind of dicey, especially because you get punished the more you build to beat the fire decks. But when you're playing this deck, I think inherently your engine is just so good into those decks that it's fine if you open a brick, or post-siding if you lose game one because you open the fire hate, it's just so favored that you are going to have good matchup spreads like that. So get into this. So like I said, I'm playing more shifters, so I play 3 shifters and I play 3 inscription. This isn't a secret card, like people are aware of it, but the issue with this card in other decks is that you still have to let your opponent full combo, and if they're playing Fire Kings and you go second and activate this and activate the effect that they can't activate from grave, yes, you're cutting off their follow-up and you're cutting off some of the negates, but they're still having Apollo, Zelantis, SP, IP, so they still have a lot of interruptions plus some tech cards. And so when you play this card in deck like Cash or Flu, you still have a very low win rate going second because your engine still can't deal with the rest of the board because you're still playing a rather flimsy engine and you're playing a deck that's heavily dependent on tech cards, and so you have to draw this plus other tech cards. Where if you're playing Vanquish Soul, you play these 6 and you play 3 Cosmics as your tech card, and the other 31 cards in this deck are all engine cards. And so if I inscription someone, if they have those boards of Apollo, SP, IP, 3 hand traps, you're still breaking them a lot of the time, especially because you only need to break and you don't need to worry about the follow-up because inscription answers it. And so just how well this deck used inscription was the reason I played it. It's just the only shifter deck I think that actually has a strong engine to push through boards. So 3 of these, each of these naturally for the hate, and then the last card is Cosmic. I think this is just really well rounded. Another thing with this kind of lineup is I'm not playing any hand traps, so I'm not playing into talents, I'm not playing into crossout, and so I'm just avoiding all these kind of metagame developments in the Snake Eye decks where they're trying to just beat hand traps, where they think their end board is enough to win, and sometimes it is, but when you build like this, you're still going to be able to have a very solid plan of going second, where now I only have to draw 1 of these 6 to go second, but I'm not having to draw 3 copies of one of my 20 hand traps. I think Cosmic also has good coverage into Flu and Voiceless other decks. And like I said, 31 engine cards, 3 Raisin, double Xiaolong. This should be a 2. You always need to play 2 because you need to be able to search a second fire. I don't play 3 because it's not an extended hand traps. It's only good when you're actually playing. Double Madla, 1 Pantera, and then the other kind of spicy card, not cards, but ratios is 3 Borger and 3 Caesar. So the reason that you max out them now is because everyone's on like 6 to 9 Veilers. Like people are playing Mourners and Veilers and Imperms, and I just never want those cards to resolve. And this is what I mean by like they make your board, you inscription them, and they have Imperm and Veiler to back it up, and it's like these don't matter. I always want Raisin to resolve, and just drawing these and having the attributes in hand already to just start immediately using their effects and being able to dodge the Imperms and Veilers is just super good throughout the day. I didn't even side them out at all. I just kept them in, and the engine feels really, really good. I think people underestimate how effective this deck is at breaking engines, or breaking boards with just engine, especially when you only have like one of the top ups. 3 Fenrir, and then Rysar, standard honorary Vanquish Souls, and then standard consistency cards, so 1 Rhoda, triple Stake, triple Plot, triple Durendal. I did have a little bit of consistency issues. I'm going to play 1 smaller going forward. I want 1 other starter at least in the deck going forward, but I think this is kind of the ratios I used last time. I used this time. It's good enough. Maybe a little bit more consistency, but I want Raise to Raisin, and these are Raise to Raisin. And then Big Show cards, and then this is 39, and then the last card I just had Planet because I won this. But I don't think this card's actually insane because you don't want to overdraw the Fenrirs. It also forces you to use this first and then get the Fenrir on board, so you're playing the draw worse, but it's fine enough as a top-up card. And then side deck. So the other nice thing about this entire kind of philosophy is I don't have to side more hand traps because my whole approach isn't hand trap based. So I can just side breakers or the other cards help me get to the blowouts in the form of shifter and inscription. So I play 3 Phantasmate, just helps you dig for the shifter and inscription, so you're drawing them more consistently. And like I said, you're playing breakers now because you're not trying to hand trap people at all. So 3 Thoras, 3 Dark Ruler, 3 Lightning Storm, and 1 Duster. I played 4 Voiceless today. These cards are very good versus the deck. You need them to crack the board. And I think trying to hand trap Voiceless is just not the way to approach it. And so being able to side breakers because you're not trying to overload your deck on hand traps felt really good. It let me play better into the matchups where you don't want hand traps like Voiceless, Cash, Flu, etc. And last card is just a go first card. Decided to be 3 Ash. People say you should main this. You shouldn't main this because the whole, again, you don't want to play in towns, you don't want to play cross out. The only reason I played this is because I think this is better than like Judgment or Strike going first, just because having additional fire is going to help some of your combo lines. So this is just, I'm only putting this thing going first, even against like a lot of the rogue decks I don't put this in, like Branded or Lab, sure, but Flu Cash, I'm just sticking to the breakers. So it's just my go first card when I don't need all the kind of blowouts and I just want, you know, extra fire when I'm playing. Extra deck, 3 rock, 1 heater, 1 SP. You need to play heater for the SP because otherwise it's hard to climb. I didn't make these links at all. I just mainly XYZ plays, 1 Dempsey for consistency, 1 Tornado Dragon. It helps clear up a lot of the boards, Cash, Voiceless. 1 Babushka, you go this blind if you're forced in that position. Even if you're playing against fire and you know it, you still rather go Babushka over Dweller because it just stops all their lines. Like, they need very specific hands. They need like Bonfire plus Witch plus another summon to actually push, especially because this is usually company with Fenrir. 1 Dweller, 1 Exciton, just because this comes up in some weird board scenarios. The Zoo package, 1 Typhon, and then double Zeus because I wanted to respect Cash. So overall, very happy with the deck. I think the deck performed really well. I think this is a solid meta deck. You know, it's not 2-1, but it is a solid tier 2 deck just because of you have good game plans going into every deck, which I think is what you want. Going the fire decks, you have the hate, and then going the shitter decks, or you know, rogue like Lab and stuff, you have good matchups there. Overall, my matchups, I played 4 Voiceless, 2 Fire, 1 Flu, and 1 Yubel, so meta across the board. My only loss was the 1 Voiceless, because he full combo with the Brand Fusion and Tyrius, so I wasn't able to crack that, but other than that, the deck performed really well. And I think if you think this deck is for it, you should definitely give it a try. Thanks.